This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City head to the West Coast to take on the LA Galaxy. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Always advancing with game-changing formulas that promote mental sharpness.
There it is, Dignity Health Sports Park. That's where we are on a Wednesday evening, late in New York. Hopefully everyone has gotten a nap during the day or something thereof, as we really are happy to bring you the live commentary beginning at 7:15 p.m. Eastern on the New York City FC Network. That's at NYCFC.com/radio, featuring the interview with exclusive one-on-one Nick Cushing, pregame show presented by Ford. And there we are. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Matty Lawrence. And I think before anything happens, before we do anything, like we're at Dignity Health Sports Park. That's what it's called. Remember, it used to be called the Home Depot Center. Then it was StubHub something. And it's Dignity Health. Today, it's Matty Lawrence Sports Park because he is celebrating a very special birthday, number 50. You don't look a day over 49, Matty. but happy
just
birthday.
A day over. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Have you had a nice day?
I have had a great day.
Or a few days.
Yeah,
I know.
Look, well, I've been in Manhattan Beach for 3 days. I've been doing yoga on the beach every morning.
Wow.
I've been frequenting the bars most mornings from about 11 a.m. after I bang on the door and get them to open up. No, but seriously, it's been a wonderful few days so far. I'm with my sister and with my girlfriend, and we've been hanging out and having a great time. And then the pinnacle, being alongside you for this evening and for 3 points as well. Hopefully. Perfect birthday. Alongside yourself, Glenn, 3 points. And then a nice couple of drinks with the staff, hopefully tonight, because they'll be in good mood.
Celebrating
and
a
the
fourth
company
consecutive road
will
victory.
be behind the bar.
And also belated happy Father's Day. We haven't been on since Father's Day over the summer. I appreciate that. There was a funny story in my family. My wife, Mary, put out a note to the family chat to the kids. What is the song? What is the song that reminds you of your father? Very interesting. And they all said Maggie May by Rod Stewart. Okay. I'm a big Roderick Stewart fan. I have been for years, and I've worn that album out a couple of times. And my daughter, who's out in New Mexico, she wrote us a short time later. She went out for a bike ride and then went into like a restaurant. And she said, "You're not going to believe this, but I walk in and the first song I hear is Maggie May by Rod Stewart." There Synchronicity, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, that's wonderful. Well, happy Father's Day to everyone belatedly. And if today's also anybody famous on your birthday, you ever look that up? Anybody you know? Any soccer players?
Augustino Hayda.
Augustino
Hayda.
That's right.
3 decades and 1 foot less than me.
And he had one more goal than you did last weekend.
Absolutely, So yes, Augustino Hayda. I haven't looked anyone else up, but that's enough for me.
That's wonderful. The 19-year-old rookie,
20-year-old now,
20-year-old for New York City FC, who did score a goal last week, and it was interesting because that goal came when New York City was a man down. Mitja Ilinic getting a straight red card, deservedly so. I think when you saw the replay and how he committed the foul, but 5 minutes later, sprung by Santi Rodriguez, Augustino Hayda scores a goal, and going into the interval, New York City's up 1-0. And it was a wonderful pass by Santi, who would later score in the 86th minute after Columbus had scored 3 times. So now it's 3-2 in New York City. It really sat back at the beginning of the second half. That's addressed with Nick Cushing of the pregame show coming up at 7:15 on the network. You'll be kind enough to listen. But Rodriguez, another great threaded pass to start that play into Alonso Martinez, got it to Ojeda. And here, I'd like you to just give us your thoughts about Santi. And I know we've talked about his improvement this year. He has a goal and an assist in 3 consecutive games. That's top shelf.
Yeah, it is. For me, and obviously that is consistency, but what he's had this season is that consistency. I'm not just talking about the goals and assists in the last 3 games. I'm talking about throughout the whole half of the season that we've had so far. he's been very good. I think he's maybe had one or two off games, which anybody's allowed, whether you're Ronaldo or Messi, you're going to have the odd off game. But what Rodriguez has added to his game is consistency and then productivity. And I think that little stat kind of alludes to it. Goal and assist in the last 3 games, but I'm going bigger than that. I'm going the whole season. And he's a joy to watch. He is one of the better players in MLS right now, or not right now. He probably is, full stop. He is up there right now with the likes of Cucho Hernandez, with, I don't want to say Messi per se, but in terms of that productivity.
But in that Lucho Acosta, 7 goals, 6 assists. So he leads his team in goals and assists.
Absolutely, those type of players. And Messi's taken it a step too far, because obviously he is one of the top 3 or 4 of the world's greatest ever players.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Messi, because he had 6 consecutive games with a goal and assist in MLS, part of his career. So that'll be something that Santi can gun for. He'll have to come up with something big tonight. You see the starting 11 rolled out. 5 changes for New York City. Monsef Bakar in for Alonso Martinez. Andres Pereira will start in place of Keaton Parks. Malachi Jones for Agustin Ojeda. So Ojeda will have to celebrate his birthday on the bench at the start. Thiago Martins for Strahinja Tanasiewicz, and Kevin O'Toole back healthy. Along with Martins, they were both sidelined with hamstrings. They're both ready to go. O'Toole in for Micha Ilinic, who is not available tonight because of the red card. And you mentioned Messi. He's not available tonight for Miami. Neither was Luis Suarez. Inter Miami still beats Columbus 2-1. I'd almost forgot we're out here on the West Coast.
And a whole raft of games that have already been completed.
Yeah, 13 games in all being played on a Wednesday night. Montreal and the Red Bulls 2-2 draw. Charlotte 2-2 with Orlando. DC United dropped a home match to Atlanta 1-0. It said Inter Miami beat Columbus 2-1. Toronto went up 1-0 on Nashville, the opponent this weekend for New York City FC. Nashville scores 2 goals in a comeback win at BMO. That's a tough loss for Toronto. Cincinnati and Philadelphia 3-3. Exciting one at TQL. Austin is ahead of LAFC in the 53rd minute. That Cincinnati-Philadelphia game just about concluded. 50th minute, Dallas 2, Minnesota 1. Houston on top of Seattle 2-0 in the 51st minute. Sporting KC at home trails RSL 2-1. They're a little over halfway through. Same in St. Louis, where Colorado is taking the 1-0 lead. RSL, they'll meet Los Angeles out in wherever they are, Salt Lake City, on this weekend, which is a battle for the top spot in the Western Conference. Galaxy have been good this year, and it lends itself to another match to anticipate, because much like Columbus, the Galaxy like to control the game.
Yeah, look, Galaxy, not only have they been good this season as a whole, they've been exemplary at home. 5 wins and 3 draws at home. They've scored 20 goals in 8 games. For me, to go unbeaten at home throughout 8 games is I don't want to say phenomenal, but it's very good when you consider the parity of MLS. The bonus for me for NYCFC is the fact that they've conceded 13 goals in those 8 games. They only kept 1 clean sheet in 8 games at home, even though they're unbeaten. Tells me that they're porous at the back. Tells me, yes, they're gung-ho. They love to get forward. They love to score goals. They've scored about 2.5 goals per game, but they've they have conceded 1.5 goals per game as well. You're going to get chances against LA Galaxy. For me, the importance is staying strong at the back, and I think it's great to see. You and I, Glenn, were talking throughout the Columbus Crew second half game about the fact that you'd be left back, I'd be right back. Roberto was playing right centre half. And I'm only talking semi-tongue-in-cheek, because we thought that there'd be no Tavon Gray. Ilinic is obviously injured. We didn't know whether Martins or O'Toole would be fit.
Correct.
So Risa was the only name we knew would be in that back 4. But luckily, it's the flat back 4 that we know and love this season. And it has to be strong and resolute, Glenn. This is a good team going forward. Their quality players are the 3 players in attack. The lesser players are the goalkeeper for me and the defenders to a certain degree, certainly in terms of defence. I think Julian Alde, the left back, is very good going forward. He's not as good defensively. So stay resolute at the back. And then you've got to be very productive and precise going forward.
Tavon Gray, there was a high expectation that he'd be away with Jamaica, including the New York City staff. That's part of the pregame show with Nick. We addressed that, and he was disappointed and surprised for Tavon, but understands that also it's a benefit for New York City FC. And he's got the assignment of Joseph Paintsill, who has really been an exciting acquisition. Now, he's been down for a month with an injury, came back as a substitute in a 4-2 win over Sporting KC on the weekend, and now he's back in the 11 for the Galaxy. Powerful, clever, pacey to begin with, and Tavon Gray, he's the guy, right?
Well, which is any of those adjectives you've used, powerful, pacey, physical. He loves dealing with that, Tavon Gray.
Yeah.
I think he thrives on playing against good players. Also, for me, it alleviates his necessity to go forward. He can concentrate on what he's good at, and that is one-on-one defending, and he'll have to do that. And then if he can take Paintsill back the other way, that's great. Look, Paintsill loves playing here at home. He scored against SKC. He scored in the first or two of the first 4 home games for LA Galaxy. I don't want to say he's a homer because he's not. He's a very good player, but he loves playing here at the Dignity Health Sports Park. And I think, and I will say it ahead of time, I think that Tavon Gray is up to the task, and I think he's as good a one-on-one defender as any in this league. If anyone's going to deal with it, it's that threat, and Paintsill, it's Tavon Gray.
The last time we were here, Matty, and the last time these two played, it was the opening game in 2022. Ronnie Dyler was still the manager. Nick Cushing was an assistant. And Chicharito scored in the 90th minute. It looked like New York City and the Galaxy, they were building throughout the game, the momentum. And you wondered if New York City could hang on and get the draw. Did not. And then went to Vancouver, did New York City, and it was 0-0. So they started the season off in a difficult way on the West Coast. But you wonder Chicharito, because now it's Dejan Jovic, the Serbian, who has 10 goals to lead the Galaxy, and they were wondering if he would be able to convert this year at a rate necessary for them to succeed. He has, but he's getting all kinds of service from the Brazilian Peck on one side, the Ghanaian Paintsill on the other, and it's really been favorable for him. And I wonder if Chicharito had that kind of service when he was here, if he would have been even more productive.
Well, if Chicharito had had that service, he'd have scored 30 goals. That's factual. He would have scored that many. Let's take nothing away from Jovic, though. He's a good player. And even when he was playing second fiddle to Chicharito, he scored goals. He got 11 goals in 2022 in 7 starts. Granted, he played 32 games, but he only made 7 starts, got 11 goals, 3 assists. Next season, 2023, 6 goals and 4 assists in 19 starts. I think he's a player that needs to play regularly, and he needs to have the management having faith in him. And now he knows he's the main man. He is the number one. Sometimes strikers thrive on that. Give me the ball, I will score. And he hasn't got to worry about Chicharito. He's not playing second fiddle to anybody. Right. He's the number 9. He's got that shirt. It's his. Hold on to it.
There must be something to be said for that too. When even if it doesn't go well one match, or and that's the saga of Monsef Bakrar this year. Bakrar is back in the starting lineup. He's missed the last 2 games. He was away with Algeria and had a canceled flight, and that delayed his return. So he didn't play at all the last 2 games, and it's now up to Bakrar to see if he's got the 1 goal, the game winner against the Red Bulls. But beyond that, it's been a difficult season for him, and Nick Cushing has really stuck by him. But he's got this guy, Alonso Martinez, who has the hat trick against San Jose, has 6 goals, and he really has been kind of dynamite up top in limited play.
I feel almost bad saying it, but I'll say it anyway. He's lucky to be starting, Monsef Bakrar. He doesn't deserve to be starting because of his lack of goals. And I know that his teammates and I know the coaching staff have said that centre forwards don't get judged on goals, and it's the other things they do in the game. But unfortunately, I don't believe
just
that.
goals. I don't think they.
Just,
of course, he's judged by goals.
Yeah, you get judged by goals, but they talk about the fact that he does other things really well. But that still doesn't help if he misses 5 open goals. I do think he's lucky to be started when you consider what Alonso Martinez has done in limited minutes, and when you've got other players around him that can score. I think what you're alluding to, and hopefully, is the fact that Nick Cushing is showing masses of faith in him. Yeah. And he should take heart from that, and it should give him confidence. Forget the lack of goals. He should have confidence in the fact that his teammates and the coaching staff saying today you're the number 9. You've got that 9 on your back. Go out there and score. For me as a player, I wasn't a goal scorer, that's for certain, but I took heart when you knew that your teammates and your management, your coaching staff had faith and believed in you. And he's getting thrown back into it here. And let's hope that he, Backrack, can reward the coaching staff, but also I think more importantly, reward himself as well for his hard work. Because you and I, Glenn, have never shied away from the fact that we do not doubt his work ethic and his workload week upon week. That is not the problem for me. Obviously, it's a lack of goals. He works hard and tirelessly. So, yes, the other things that you want to centre forward to do, he does pretty well.
All right. They're down below to the left, and there are the New York City football club warming up. It's a large crowd on that left side of the field, and you see it's a wonderful setting here, that open grassy area, which actually had bleachers when the San Diego Chargers played here for a couple of years. They had to increase the capacity a bit. That was odd that there was an NFL team playing here at what was called StubHub Center at the time.
I just walked past the LA Chargers. Now, the LA Chargers, brand new training facility, which is about 800 yards from our hotel. I just happened to stumble past
I didn't know that.
As I was walking. It's in El Segundo, which is just to say about half a mile away from where we were staying. And boy, was that a facility. I took a number of photos. I love to show everybody, but they were putting up the tarp so that you couldn't take photos just as I was taking photos. It's that brand new. They haven't even completed your ability to not look into it.
Well, I got the curtain drawn when I was at the training facility here right outside. There's a number of fields. The U.S. men's national team and women's national teams used to train here regularly, but now that's going to be changed. They're going to go to Atlanta. But Costa Rica was training because they're playing some matches at the SoFi Stadium.
Yes, of course,
in Copa America. So they were training. I was trying to find New York City, actually. I was peering in, and this guy came up and said, "You can't look here." I said, "Okay." I'm just trying to find the team I cover. And then I got to training, and man, you talk about what winning does to a team and the atmosphere around it. I mean, this is a happy group of players. They are bonded together, and I think they understand what happened last week. And look, when you go down a player, and I asked Nick about this also, and I do want to play one clip here because I'd like to get your impressions, and I think it was really a fun thing that we talked about. But he lamented a bit that they sat back. That was not the plan, even though the shape was such. He still wanted them to step higher and not allow so much attacking space for Columbus, which ended up being the downfall last week. So Joe Mazzulla is the head coach of the Boston Celtics, right?
Yes, he is.
And you've heard that he went to Manchester City and spent a week with Pep Guardiola. Guardiola's like a mentor to him. When Joe Mazzulla got the job of the Boston Celtics, remember the previous coach was fired and he was thrust into the position, he showed a video. His first meeting is the way it was written, a video of Man City and some of the things they did in transition. And because he said he's really applying a lot of what Pep Guardiola does as a manager, said he's the best coach in sports, not just in soccer. This is according to Joe Mazzulla. Well, Boston Celtics just won the NBA championship. So I asked Nick Cushing about this, just about learning, from coaches in other sports. So here's what he came up with. So stand by. It's a couple of minutes here with Nick.
I've spent a lot of time recently, listening and reading a lot around Dan Hurley and his, successes with UConn. And I do think there are some real similarities around how sports overlap. Basketball is something that in my previous role at Manchester City Women, that there is the John Amici Centre there in Manchester that we took the women's team to because we were a really dominant possession team. But I wanted to improve the ability of the team to be good in offensive transition and understand the principles of offensive transition. And we worked with the basketball coaches there on just understanding, how you can be really dominant in the sport of basketball with being good at transition, right? And it was really positive for us. So I do think there are, and we're always striving to learn and learn new ideas, right? We went into the New York Jets earlier this season, and I've got a lot of friends that work across a lot of different sports. I think it is really interesting to see the synergy and how sports and principles and concepts overlap.
Can you recall a specific transition moment or transition learning piece from that time you visited the basketball side?
Yeah, I think ultimately is for me is about how you can. I think it's about playing forwards, right? When you're a possession team, your first thought is to retain the ball, and most of the time retaining the ball is passing it sideways or backwards because it's the safest option, right? It's the safest way to play, and then the problem is you miss the opportunity of getting the opposition out of balance because by the time you pass it backwards and sideways and you connect 3-4 passes, the opposition are probably 11 players behind the ball. And I think when we went into the John Amici Centre in Manchester, the practices and the principles were all about on the regain. It was play forwards, run forwards. It was, almost rewire the brain into immediate attack on the regain. And I think it's the sort of mental order of regaining the ball, because you're looking at on the regain, can you run, can you play forwards? If not, then you retain the ball, versus when you regain the ball, keep it. Everybody on the side shouts when you get the ball back, keep the ball, when really the first option might be to risk it and to run it or play forwards. And I think basketball is a real good example of that.
Yeah, and I think possession teams, this is great stuff. I love when there's that overlap. You've got Missoula learning from soccer, and now you've got Cushing learning from basketball. And Eric Ramsey, the new Minnesota United coach who came over from Manchester United, he talked about basketball and transition and setting picks or blocks and preparing for set pieces in that manner. So it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Look, and you can set picks, blocks, as we certainly would call them playing football in parlance. You can set them from throw-ins, free kicks, goal kicks, corner kicks. There is such a huge crossover with a multitude. It's what's with sports as a whole, Glenn, I think, and certainly learning from managers or coaches in different sports, because most of coaching to me is about man management, about the management of a human being. Forget how good or bad somebody is. If you can get that person on board, buying into the system or the style of play you want, you're there. You got a leg up straight away, Glenn. So, yeah, I don't think that anybody's surprised by that crossover. But I do love the fact that the NBA champions of Boston Celtics and their head coach is alluding to Pep Guardiola, learning from him, who, yes, didn't win the Champions League, but won the league and has won the Champions League and the league the year before that. I think it's quite amazing. I really do.
And he was in attendance. I don't know how many games he was at, but I think that hit social media, or those who were following the NBA Finals saw Pep there. Well, a couple of final things here before we break, and then at 7:15 local, 10:15 Eastern. I might have screwed that up earlier. 10:15 Eastern. Stay up, everybody.
That's not AM.
That's when we start our pregame show and live commentary. The New York City FC Network. That's nycfc.com/radio. The New York City FC app or the TuneIn app to listen to this game. But we have Philadelphia dropping a game at Cincinnati 4-3. Lucho Acosta scored in the 100th minute for Cincinnati. The Red Bulls 2-2, and then Nashville, the opponent for New York City next week. Actually, this weekend in Nashville, they came from behind and beat Toronto at BMO 2-1. And then just a really quick look at the live standings. Miami still on top. Cincinnati 2 points off the pace. Then it's the Red Bulls, then New York City. City trailing New York by just 2 points. So a win tonight, and New York City can vault into the third position and still have a game in hand.
Yeah, so I think the games played are important. The fact that Cincinnati are only 2 points behind Miami, but they've got 2 games in hand. New York City FC ourselves, of course, only the 2 points behind the Red Bulls, but 2 games in hand, obviously one of them being today. I think that's really important to note that as well.
All right. Well, we got a good one here. We're at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California, where New York City is trying to set a club record with their 4th consecutive road victory. Against Columbus, they were trying to set a club record for consecutive wins. They were at 5. They were denied by Columbus. Let's see what happens as we get set for this one. So I hope you'll take the opportunity to listen to us while you're watching the game. If not, enjoy it either way. And thanks so much for joining us today. And happy birthday.